My name is Graham Annable, and I am the creator of Grickle and the Grickle channel. I seem to constantly give myself little side projects. I possibly have a very short attention span, and I keep trying to invent different projects for myself to motivate me to create new art. I don't know, the list of things that scared me as a kid is probably way too long to get into.
Where did this come from?
I really don't know.
I don't know. It's
I don't
just
know why that's funny, but
there's just so many questions.
I grew up in a fairly small northern city up in Canada. A lot of woods, a lot of lakes, lots of outdoor activities. When I graduated from high school, I hit a point where, like all of us, I had to make a decision of what I was going to study next. And at the time I was pretty certain I was going to go to university for sciences, something in biology maybe. But when I looked over all my science books, textbooks, they were just completely coded in doodles. And I thought, well, maybe I'll do the art thing instead.
Yeah, what is it about lined notebook paper?
I don't know, I think it's I think because it is just lined paper, I don't feel any pressure to make some amazing finished piece of art on it. And I think it kind of frees you up for, working on ideas quickly and not get too stuck on something.
Harvey Kurtzman, a big influence for me. He was the guy that pretty much started Mad magazine years and years ago. I mean, it initially started as a comic, but his sense of timing and humor is just, I don't think anyone's equaled it since. I never get tired of looking at the comic work he's done. I graduated right kind of before the big boom in the early 90s happened for the animation industry, but eventually ended up getting into the into the studio system in Toronto, and then ended up hearing through a friend of a friend that they were willing to hire Canadian animators out west at LucasArts. And applied for the job. Thought maybe I would be just down in California for a year, maybe two. I ended up being about 15 years in the Bay Area. Here's my old name from LucasArts. And the first project I got put on was Full Throttle. They were right in the middle of really trying to finish it all up. It was amazing to jump in there, and immediately I was animating Ben and all the bikers and stuff. And for the first few projects at LucasArts, it took a little bit of adjusting for me because everybody for the games was just drawn with pixels, and half the guys were using their mouse. It was a big sort of shift in gears for me. But for Curse of Monkey Island, we got to do full-on animated cutscenes for it, and we got to do a lot of really fun, awesome animation that I feel was kind of at feature quality level. Obi-Wan actually was the very first Star Wars project I worked on at LucasArts. I ended up being the lead animator actually on it. That was the first time I worked with Kevin Bruner and Dan Connors. Dan really just was in there with the team constantly. You really felt like he was pulling for everybody. And Kevin was just an insanely talented programmer and probably one of the most passionate programmers I've ever met. Yeah, it was the first project I worked on that was 3D animation. I was not drawing on a daily basis anymore, and I found I really missed it. I came up with little projects for myself, just creating comic stories that I would just work on the side, just to kind of motivate myself to continue drawing on a daily basis. And after a while I found I had a whole stack of short stories of just random stuff I wanted to write about. I wasn't quite sure what to call it once I put it all together in a booklet. And the name Grickle, I always get asked exactly what exactly that means. It comes from a bazillion nicknames my dad had for my sister and I as kids. The name Grickle just sort of stuck. It felt like the right word for the bizarre, weird little stories I'd come up with.